Hello everyone, this is Dartt, and Blizzard has been caught out doing some pretty shifty stuff. Specifically, saying they wouldn't scale up NPCs based on item level in the Broken Isles, then doing it, then misrepresenting players' reactions. If you weren't aware, September 9th of 2016, there was a developer Q&A on Twitch where Ian Hazzikostas, the World of Warcraft game director, says this, and I'll read it. Once a year max level, the world isn't scaling with your gear. There would be problems if we tried to do that. What do you do with a fresh 110 and a raid geared 110 fighting the same mob in the same place? We could some kind of scaling, I guess, like leveling to normalize it, but I think that would go too far in undermining the core sense of power progression that is part of an MMO. The stuff that was challenging for you in Suramar, that was challenging when you first hit 110 in greens, when you come back in Mythic Dungeon gear, you should crush them a bit. The intent is that content is something that you outgear, outpower eventually. That said, that's why we add new content. And that's what Ian had to say. However, patch 7.2 went live and people started noticing that spawns were hitting harder and taking longer to kill. Some particularly clever people started experimenting with their gear and noticed that as their worn item level increased, so did a world spawn's health pool, and it continued at regular intervals all the way up to item level 900 plus. This is a complete reversal of what Ian had said back in September, and people are understandably upset about it. What if you just hit item level 850 as a new level 110? You're effectively being punished for progressing your character. What if you play a priest or another healer class? That item level increase may not give you the damage boost needed to compensate for this change. And what if you're a tank that's used to pulling everything in sight for your DPS buddies to AoE down? All of a sudden you may start having a huge problem. I fully empathize with this. Ian subsequently released a series of blue posts under his forum tag Watcher, and you can find these on mmochampion.com, but the TLDR of these is that the developers hadn't intended to irritate the players. They were trying to correct an issue where in some areas there were a very small number of quest NPCs and they were dying before people had time to tag them. The argument being that not everybody had an instant ability and that some people had to rely on abilities with channel timers. His responses to why these changes weren't included in patch notes was that he wanted the changes to feel natural and organic, and that the developers were hoping for non-contrived reactions from the player base. And it would be silly to try and hide any changes from millions of people. There was also a blue post from community manager Ornix, who listed the steps Blizzard was taking to walk these changes back. First of all, that they're removing the increased damage dealt by creatures, to be in line with their story that this is purely concerned with the amount of time it took to kill them. Also, that they're significantly reducing the rate at which creature health scales upwards with item level. And they'll be addressing a separate but related issue that allows players to manipulate creature health pools by removing pieces of gear. The statement was also made that changes were up on the PTR and had been since January, and that they hadn't received a lot of negative feedback about it. Funny thing, a lot of people who play on the PTR are more concerned with dungeon and raid progression, so world content isn't going to be something they bother with. However, I was able to go back through Blizzard's PTR forums and still find threads where people were talking about this and were less than pleased. Now, nowhere in here is any sort of apology. There's no sense of remorse, no hint of give a damn on the part of Blizzard. They said one thing, they did another. They lied, they got caught. They spun a narrative, then they patched the game to fit the narrative. Finally, they removed the method you used for figuring out things so you won't be able to call them out about it again. I don't think I need to tell you, I find this sort of attitude concerning. I've been playing World of Warcraft for over 10 years. I'm not going to rage quit over this, but I am disappointed in how this has played out. I really can't argue with people who decide to vote with their credit card and simply cancel their subscriptions. They have a right to be angry and offended. And if their cancellations resonate with Blizzard that this isn't the proper way to do things and they learn from this, that's all to the good in my humble opinion. And to be fair, this is just one of several things the development team has done to push their player base towards that decision. The growing trends of developers funneling players into re-exploring old content for diminished rewards, the introduction of smaller and smaller quest areas, alongside an open-tap NPC combat tag system, and the blatant overuse of non-deterministic random reward schedules is enough for anyone to feel stuck in a rut. This is absolutely antithetical to what most people would consider exciting or fun. Now, to the people who will go out of their way to defend Blizzard, I know they're a business. I know they're obligated to turn a profit. Last time I looked, they didn't have a problem doing that. But they've also built an image of being a company full of gamers that caters to gamers. That carries with it a certain set of expectations, and one of them isn't giving money-hungry Activision final say in their game design process. In my opinion, Blizzard would do well to pay attention to their player base, and having easily accessible patch notes with all changes posted in them would be a step in the right direction. Regardless of how big a game is, it boils down to interaction between the people running the game and the people playing the game. Communication helps keep this relationship healthy. Once again, this is Dartt. I want to know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe below. Good luck, have fun, and I'll see you in game.